Hello and welcome to Bread of Life, a daily devotional program which each week features a different area pastor. Our speaker for this week is Elder Bill Ewen of New Haven.
What can we learn from the principles expressed in Ecclesiastes chapter 4? Let us read verses 9 through 13. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he does not have another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and wise child than an old and foolish king who will no longer be admonished. The worship of individual autonomy and the resultant lack of team spirit is a very common tendency in today's world. Even Jesus himself was confronted with this problem, which persisted among his own disciples. Mark 9, verses 34 and 35, record the disputing among Jesus' disciples as to who should be the greatest. So Jesus had to teach them that if any man desired to be great in God's kingdom, he would first have to learn to become the servant of all. Put in today's terms, learn first to put the interest of your team's welfare ahead of your own goals. Put the team first, not yourself. Philippians 2:3 puts it this way: let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem others better than themselves. That is the way to defeat loneliness, through team harmony and adopting a common purpose in ministry. Now, how about verses 11 and 12? What application is there for the example of two in a bed versus one in a bed for us? And what about the case of a person who is unmarried? Whether single or married, Christians can warm the spirits and morale of one another by taking heed to the admonition in Hebrews 10:24 and 25 to consider one another to provoke unto love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is. We need each other. Christians have rightly been compared to being coals on a fire. Together the coals help to keep one another fervent. But use tongs to pick one coal out of the fire and place it off by itself, and the glowing warmth of that one coal soon goes out. Verse 12 also has an interesting application to the institution of marriage, which, as we know today, is under significant attack, not only in our country, but also throughout the world. How do we protect one another against such attacks? It is easier for a criminal to overcome one victim than it is to be able to overcome two at the same time. In a stable marriage based on mutual love and devotion, one spouse can be there to assist the other when that other spouse has become sick, discouraged, or disabled. And if that marriage has Jesus in its midst as the unseen guest, making Jesus the third cord in that relationship, its bonds will not be easily or soon broken. And that's a very nice family insurance card to have in one's possession. In verse 13, Solomon suddenly changes his focus to that of a king. Why is that? I think Solomon is trying to show that even those in high places are not exempt from emotions of emptiness and futility. Why so? Kings are human and are subject to making wrong decisions. Apparently, one fault of the king mentioned in verse 13 is that he refused to accept counsel from his advisors. This character flaw winds up putting the king's entire country into a precarious situation. Verse 13 also states that it would be better for the country to have a younger, wiser, and less well-off king in the old and stubborn king's place. Good rulers ought to have a teachable spirit. As Proverbs 1:5 states, a wise man will hear and will increase learning.
You've been listening to Elder Bill Ewen of New Haven, and this has been Bread of Life, a program to encourage you from God's Word.